Unlock the path to healing with Exposed podcast. Join us as therapists from around the world break mental health taboos, share powerful stories, and provide insights that transform lives. Tune in, educate, and thrive.
Ask yourself the same question you should ask your friend. And always talk to yourself like you're your best friend. Don't ever talk to yourself like you're anything else but your own best friend. And that way you will get the answers. And you'll get better and stronger and able to take on the world.
Okay. Hello everyone in Expose podcast. In this today's show, we have a very special guest. This woman is not only #1 bestseller US and UK international co-author and author of Jack and Walter series of self-help books, but she's also an advocate, mother, and amazing sister for many other women around the whole world. Today with us, let me welcome Paulette Hallam.
Thank you.
Paulette, for those who have no idea who you are, they never read any of your books, could you share a little bit of your story?
Okay, so not a great childhood. I had a rather tumultuous upbringing. I ended up being fostered, but I have two amazing foster brothers, and I have a relationship with my blood brothers too now. I ended up having a relationship with my real mum, which is quite bizarre after everything, but life makes you go in different directions. So I feel like I'm a very rounded person, very easy to work with problems. So because of that, I think that helped me with my career as a mediator and sales director, then managing director, and then all the way to the glass ceiling. And ended up with not thinking I'd ever have children. And then at 39, pregnant. Wonderful son who is autistic. And that was one of the very scary times because I didn't know how to handle it. I've always been a fixer, but you can't fix things that are like that. You can only assist and help and make their lives as easy as possible. But I read and I read and I read and I did qualifications and I did more learning. And in the end, by the time I retired, and having got Ben through suicide ideation because of bullying and understanding how mean other kids can be, I learned so much that I decided, right, well, here I am. I've got all these qualifications, we might as well use them. And so in using them, what we did was we started a counselling therapy, and I was able to help children from all over the place who couldn't afford to go to a therapist. So it was free. I offered free therapy, difficult to say, free therapy, but my door became like revolving. It was constant, and that was exhausting. And my family was saying, you can't keep doing this. So eventually the decision was made that I couldn't keep doing this. And I decided I'd go into schools. Went into schools and started being Mrs. Worry with her worry basket. But again, you start being asked to go to Scotland, Wales, here, there, and you say, hang on a minute, the whole idea, this disabled woman wanted to help, not create myself a whole heap of problems. So then it was, how can I reach children on a bigger scale? Books. So that's where the books came from. And the ideas were 20 odd years old because they were from my nephew called Jack. And because he had been the inspiration for the stories, we maintained that name because it was very important to me that Jack was the hero, because he'd been through so much when he was younger and is now MIT, a doctor, and working on AI. So, great. Look at him. He's done great. But at the time, things were very difficult. He was only 6. So that's, a long, long time ago. But then at the age of 12 I was told 70% likely to go ahead and um, and take his life. And you don't ever prepare yourself for that as a parent. You never think you're going to hear those words. So you then, as being the fixer, you jump into action. And that's what got me to where I am today. So the books really are a representation of my life, fixing and helping and assisting, and all the training and everything gets into the books, and the children, the parents, the teachers, the therapists, we all learn listening to that inner voice, knowing when something's wrong, understanding to trust your gut instincts that tell you things aren't right. I don't want to be in the room with Uncle Sid. Don't leave me in the room with Uncle Sid. Your parents like, but Uncle Sid's such a lovely old man. Everyone loves it. No, I don't like Uncle Sid. You know in your gut why. There's something odd about him. You don't feel comfortable. And I'm telling children it's okay to speak up and say that. I'm telling children it's okay to have an opinion. And maybe parents and teachers are struggling with that, but it's about time we let children learn about their inner voice, listening to their inner thoughts, because they will help children grow into adults that are better equipped to deal with difficult situations. Does that answer any of your
Yes,
questions?
thank you so much for being so open and sharing, um the
That's the
last few
whole point.
Hmm?
It's the whole point, to be open and honest and tell you the truth and see what we can, all grasp from it.
It's you are so brave and courageous to do that. And for our audience who maybe, feel still shame to share their story, I feel like, people will judge them. Are there any tips, techniques you would like to share as an author?
Definitely. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Whatever has happened to you, whatever situation you've been put in, was not your fault. And I say this to people every single day, even now. People are phoning me up from LinkedIn. They get my number. Will you just give me 10 minutes of your time? That's what they ask me. What am I going to say? I can't say no. So, of course, the answer is yes. But the answer to most of the questions are, I feel really uncomfortable with X, or I've done this and been made to feel ashamed of myself, or I have been mistreated by somebody, but I'm scared to tell someone. And you know what I say? Tell the world. And they say, oh, but. I say, no, because if you don't, they'll do it to someone else and someone else and someone else. So if it's happened to you and this situation has left you feeling like this, do you not think you owe it to every other female in the world to stop it now? And it's like, wow, what a different way of looking at life. It's brave, but it's fair. It's honest. We all owe each other that debt.
We all owe each other that sounds like we are really, on the primary level connected. And
Yes.
I really like how the storytelling can, even connect us more, and especially for children. Could you share a little more in your perspective? How do you believe storytelling can help children overcome their challenges?
Absolutely. So if a child resonates with something, it's going to make them feel a little bit stronger, a little bit more aware that there are other people who feel the same. Because all we ever want to do is be and feel the same. We all want this individuality, but actually, we want to be members of the pack, right? So if you feel different and you're made to feel different, people point out your differences. All that does is make you feel more and more ashamed of who you are. And I'm saying to people, don't you dare be ashamed of anything. You're a beautiful, wonderful human being. As long as you're not hurting anyone, in my book, you're the best person ever. So just make sure you don't ever hurt anyone, because then I'll be upset with you. But if you are being a kind person, I don't care what is said to you, you come and tell me all about it. And that's what Jack and Water is all about. Jack and Water is all about the conversations between Jack, the little boy, and Walter, his inner voice. And they have these conversations where Jack says, GP's upset because Granddad's star died and I don't know what to do. And although it was 7 years ago, she's really upset about it. And shall I throw her a party? And Walter says, the conscious side of the brain, probably not a party. I don't think that's the right thing to do, because the conscious side of the brain is the thinking side, the solution solving side. The subconscious side is all the crazy ideas, right? And also all the negative beliefs that you've had over thousands of years, you know? So the point of storytelling is for a child to understand you're quite allowed to ask yourself questions. To have these inner dialogues, talk to yourself. I have a sign up in my office and it says, if you find me talking to myself, please walk past. I'm having a team meeting. And I absolutely stand by it, because we need to have team meetings with ourselves, because that's when we make these big decisions about, is this okay? Am I comfortable in this? Am I not comfortable in this? Do I want to do something about this situation? Or am I going to just carry on as is? And 9 times out of 10, if we're truthful, we know there's something wrong. We feel it, we sense it, you know? And fear is one of the biggest things that cripples us. It cripples us from taking action. It cripples us from telling anyone. It cripples us from doing anything. It can even cripple you from shouting. You want to scream, there's no voice, because fear cuts you off here. Your legs are fearful. They can't run. And you think, how can fear do that to you? It literally renders you crippled. It stops you from being able to run. It stops you from being able to shout or speak or tell. And what I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be that way. If you start to deal with the problems, the little problems as they happen, gradually, as you develop and you get the emotional intelligence, you won't ever take any crap of anything or anybody. If someone says something to you don't think it's right, you're going to say, excuse me, what did you mean by that? And just clarify. You're not going to let anyone get away with anything, and neither should you. Your life is not here for other people to upset it or ruin it or spoil it. We're all here for a short period of time. Let's enjoy it. And let's be each other's sister. Let's hold each other's hand and hold each other up and hold our children up and give our children the support they need. And that's kind of like my life now. That's what I do.
I would like to talk a little more about the initiative you started in schools, because I find it so powerful, and like some people might want to join your movement. I feel like you created
Mm,
a big idea which others can get inspired. Like I myself, I got inspired when I heard that initiative. Can you explain how the initiative started in schools and a little more about the character you created?
absolutely. In fact, I've got a book. So I'm going, just so happen to have one here.
Great.
So in the back of each of the books, there is a card.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I see.
And that is Walter. Now, Walter, in the guise that we have him, is decorated and in his pajamas because he was made out of Jack's old clothes. So he has a very distinctive look, but we don't want everybody's Walter to be the same. We want everybody's Walter. So that's our Walter card. But I have seen Barbie Walters. I've seen Walters in football kits. I've seen Walters in all different guises. And the initiative is this, that if you give a child a water card and the water card says, I've got you, and on the card it says, Walter wishes and hopes that you are worry free and happy. But if you are worried about something, Walter says, talk to someone. As GP always says, a problem shared is a problem halved. Lots of love and hugs, Walter. And on its card it says, be brave, be strong, don't leave coming home too long. Now, during COVID, there were children at home for almost 2 years. When they went back to school, children just did not know how to socialize. They'd missed kindergarten, they'd missed preschool, they'd missed preschool, and then some of them had even missed year 1, year 2. They were suddenly thrown into this is school and you will do it. And they were like, I don't get it. I'm scared. I want to go home to mum. So what happened was there were mums kissing their hands with these stained lipsticks. So, and they'd say to their child, there's 100 kisses there. So all day long, you can and know that that's mum and I'm there with you. And I was like, I like that. If we give a water card, because that's really what this is about, giving a child something they can have a touch point and they will feel strong because they've got that touch point. They will feel that they can move forward, right? And by moving forward, they will feel that they are over that initial hurdle. I've got to get on a bus. I don't want to get on. I'm scared. And they touch their card and it says, we've got this. We can do it. And then they get on the bus and they're like, oh, there is magic in that card, right? And I get to the classroom and I don't know anyone. I'm really scared. And what if no one wants to be my friend? And what if and someone says, hello, would you like to sit next to me? And you go, oh, I was touching the card and wishing for a friend and a friend appeared. The magic powers of this card suddenly become unbelievable. And so the initiative of giving a child strength is like magic. And it really does seem like magic to children. Children see this as like Santa Claus. It really is the magic like Father Christmas. You can believe in it. And if you believe in it, who knows what could happen? And I've had grown-ups say to me, when I say, what would Walter do? That's the breathing technique. When you're panicking and you don't know what to do and you get stressed and hyperventilating, that's the first thing that happens. You start to feel a shortness of breath. We say, you ask yourself, what would Walter do? That's your 4 in, 4 out box breathing. done. It slows you down, gives you the time to think. It doesn't mean there's going to be a magic solution, but it's given you a few minutes or even seconds to just go, okay, now I can make a decision. I can plan. Yeah. Whether I'm running because there's a gang, or whether or not I'm going to tell the teacher because they've emptied my bag on the floor, or whether I've received a horrible note that says, go kill yourself or something hideous like that. What am I going to do with this bit of paper? They'll be thinking to themselves, what would Walter do? And you know that Walter's always telling you to do the right thing. So what would Walter tell you to do? And their minds will go, Walter would tell me to tell the teacher, to tell someone. And that's what happens. The child has this inner belief and strength. And it all starts with the voice in the head. And that initiative really is about going into schools and teaching children to listen to their gut, listen to their head, know when you feel uncomfortable, know when things don't feel right, and take action. And that's really what Jack and Walter are all about. Jack is every child, boy or girl, doesn't matter. Jack is just a child. Walter is a name. It isn't actually a male. It's just the name we gave, but in a voice. We could have called it Fred. We could have called it Harry. We could have called it, Esmeralda. It wouldn't have mattered. It's just the name of your inner voice. And it's listening to your inner Walter. And those questions are very simple. What would Walter do? And when I imagine people in board meetings sitting there, scratching their head, all of them going, I just don't know what to do. We've got this huge problem, business problem, what we're going to do, what we're going to do. And I just have this vision that somebody will say, I wonder what Walter would do. And then everyone will laugh. And in that second of laughter, the tension of the room is lifted. And suddenly they're able to come up with a solution. Now, Walter won't have made that solution happen, but somebody's inner voice will have come up with an idea. And that is where, if we teach children to do this, by the time they're adults, think about how emotionally intelligent they will be, how much more in touch with their feelings they will be, and how they won't take anything off anybody. They won't accept abuse. They won't accept anybody hurting them. They won't accept nasty letters. They won't accept being called names or being in any way, shape bullied. Because one of my biggest things about bullying is that if you've been bullied, it's so easy to be bullied again because you go straight back to what it was like when you were a child. I was bullied then, I'm being bullied again. That must mean I deserve it because that's who I am. And I think that's the key here, that it's really not about you. It's not about how it happened then. It's about how you deal with it now. Two different situations. And I've really learned that people, when you say that to them, they go, oh yeah, I get it now. I don't have to carry all of that in my rucksack on my back, like 20 stone hanging around my neck. I can park that and leave it behind and go forward lighter. And that's really the way that Jack and Walter is helping children. And it's the lovely feeling when you know it's working. And it's working.
It feels like you gave a name to that friend we all have when we are children, right? And it actually, there is some research showing that when we talk to ourselves in a third person, there is like this another part of the brain turning on,
Exactly.
and we are able to see and feel things easier.
Yeah.
It's not maybe so subjective, more objective, and I find it really making sense to use it in any age, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Because you've got no reason to believe not. You know, when you're a child and you're riding a bike and you fall off, you don't think to yourself, I'm never going to ride a bike again. You just get back on it again with all scuffed up knees and you carry on, right?
Right.
Now, as an adult, you fall off the bike. That's it. The bike gets thrown in the garage, never to be used again, right? Because we don't give ourselves that chance to have a second go. And I think that that's where, if we can learn to just be a bit more open minded, a bit more willing to listen to ourselves, because I think that our own minds want us to be happy. Our own minds want to protect us. I think that's what our minds do. Our conscious mind, not our subconscious mind. That's a whole pile of rubbish. That's all the bad things that you've heard over years and years and years, repetitively. You're useless. You're a C grade student. You're never going to be anyone. All those negative things you've heard. They all sit there, and as soon as they get the opportunity, someone says something at school. Oh, you only got a C in that, and it's like all those. It's like it opens a Pandora's box of all the comments. And what we have to do is be stronger than that and say, no, 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 no. This is one C. I've been B's and A's all through the year. Go away. And just I always say to children, if you imagine a ball coming towards you and you've got a racket in your hand, smack it out the court. That's what the negative thought. Smack it out of the court. And the children practice with imaginary balls. And I go, here comes another one. And they go, oh, and you see these children playing like imaginary, tennis. And it's crazy what I'm getting them to do. But actually, it's all about learning negative thoughts and nothing but that, just a negative thought.
As we're getting to the end, and I would like to ask, I wanted to ask you a question I asked you the first time we met, which is like, who believed in you? But it might go in different direction, as I know the answer, and I would like just the audience to hear that, if you allow them, so they can realize that at the end of the day, they're the ones who decide how they define every chapter in their lives, and that there is so many characters they can use and play, just like they were children.
Absolutely. Yeah. The only person who's ever believed in me is me. I had nobody. I had nobody to talk to. I had nobody to listen to me. I had nobody interested in what I had to say. I wasn't allowed to sit at the table because of the way I looked. I looked like my dad. My mum hated my dad. And so I was a memory. And so if there was a spare chair down the end of the table, I'd sit there. But my brothers thought it was fun to fill those chairs. So I ate on the floor with the dog. This isn't for sympathy. This is to show you that it doesn't matter how much you take, the beatings, the ending up in hospitals. It doesn't matter how much happens to you. You are so much more than that. You are so much stronger than that. And you are so much better than that. And you only need one person to believe in you, and that's you. And when you love yourself, truly learn to love yourself, forgive yourself, for everything you think you might have done. Even if you didn't do it, you just have to say, well, if I was in some way responsible, then I forgive myself. I don't believe I was responsible for any of it, but by forgiving myself of it, it means that I don't have to carry it. I leave it. I've left it years ago. I now can sit here happy. I'm not well. I've got health issues, but that doesn't stop me being happy. It doesn't stop me being kind. It doesn't stop me being caring. It doesn't stop me being willing to do everything and anything I can to make any other little Paulette have a better life, because that's all that every child deserves.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paulette. Pauline, it's you. I always, I get
Paulette.
Paulette. It's just such a beautiful name that I have to remember. Paulette. I just always will keep repeating that there is so much motherhood energy coming from you, and the fact that you became the mother you never had for everyone, and including for yourself, and took care of your needs. And even before this call, having chronic pain and still getting on the podcast, which I don't, I still feel like you shouldn't sacrifice your physical needs, but I do believe that your soul, your spirit wanted to create more impact, and
Yeah.
that's why we are here. And for those who would like to read your books, and those books are written for children, but we're all children, so make sure, guys, get a copy. Follow Pauline on social media, and for those who would like to tell us a little bit more how they can connect with you, if I didn't mention that already.
Okay, the easiest way is to find me on Amazon. But if you go to the website, www.jackandwater, now hang on, let's get it right again, www.waterontheweb.com. So that's a nice, easy one. I'm on Paulette Hallam, co-author of the Jack and Water website on the LinkedIn. There's lots of other social medias, but I don't get involved in that. I stay well away. But Amazon is where the books are being sold. So you can buy them from Amazon. And there's one little extra surprise. So the two charities we support are Comfort Cases UK, which is the cases for the children that are going into care or moving around the care system. So they get a blanket, a rucksack. Otherwise, they're given a black sack, a rubbish bag to put their stuff in, which is horrible. And it makes you feel like rubbish. I had a black sack. Fill it quick, we're off. It's like that. So we give them some dignity by giving them this lovely case with all this lovely stuff in it, and they get a feeling that they've got somebody with them who cares, and that's so important to me. And then the rest of the money goes in America, or the America charity money goes to Connect Impact Hub, which is purely working for homelessness and especially helping children and families who are homeless and really in trouble in the States. So that's a real why. That's my why, so that I can give back. I love the idea of having a legacy, and not for vanity. Don't mistake that for vanity. The legacy is that you've done something that's really powerful and good with your pain. Your pain has turned to a purpose, which I look at everything you're doing, and it's the same. You turn that pain into purpose, and it feels as if it's been worthwhile somewhere. Somehow, as you're fighting your way through the muck, something good is coming from it, right? And that's the way it is. And I was saying to you in the break that I was always running as a child, always running everywhere, and nobody ever asked why. I could never just walk to the shop and go back. I ran to the shop and came back because I was told to go and get the milk and be quick. So I was quick, because if I wasn't quick, I might get a good thrashing. And the point was that nobody ever said, why don't you just do anything slowly? You've got half an hour to write the story. You don't have to do it in 10 minutes, but I'd be finished, because I felt so on edge the whole time. I was always in fight mode, fight and flight, both of them, always. And I was asked once if I felt angry that people didn't look after me, look out for me, speak for me, speak to me. My answer was probably not what you'd expect. I said, now I've learned what a mask is. And now I know what a mask is. They would never have got through, because I wore that mask so well. I told people I fell down the stairs. I lived in a bungalow. Nobody ever asked, how many stairs are there in that bungalow? Right? You wear a mask because it's easier than facing the truth. You wear a mask because it's easier than having to tell what's happened, because you don't want to admit that your mum did that to you, because everybody else's mum is lovely. So why would you want to have the one that had the horrible mum? So isn't it easier not to admit it?
That awareness on realizing, this is the part of me running, and this is the part of me chasing something, and this is the part of me not able to rest properly and take care of my needs. It's so huge. And I wonder if what was the most helpful for you in your own healing from all those parts which have been neglected as a child and not cared for, and would you be open to share?
Yeah, of course, I'm open about everything. I think I was determined that I was never going to be without. So I was very focused. I was focused on my education. I was focused on my ability to do well. And that was my way out. That was my success. That was how I was never going to rely on anybody ever again. And I meant anybody. I was happy to walk away from my whole family, everybody. My foster family, no. My foster family were always consistent. They were like friends, but they were always there. And my foster mum is adorable. And I call her that, although it was never legal or anything, but she was the lady I lived with, and that's who she became. And her sons have only ever known me in their lives, so they would think I was their sister. One of them one day asked where I came from, and she was like, don't know quite how to answer that question, because at nearly 16 years old, it's an unusual age to suddenly take a teenager in. And so she couldn't really explain to her, little 5-year-old, or 6-year-old, where did I come from, And so when he got to about 11, she then was able to explain. But he said to them, but she's my sister. They were like, yes, she's your sister. Nothing's going to change that. And their children call me auntie, and we are, for all intents and purposes, related. The part of my brain that was able to say, absolutely, I don't need anybody, was my healing.
Mhm.
My healing was I was happy to walk away from everything and everybody to preserve myself. I feel like pickling myself, like I needed to literally go away to university and never speak to another person again who was anything to do with my history.
Mhm.
And yet all I did in my psychology and all my sociology and my economics and maths, all they ever wanted to do was delve into your history, because all the time that's what the courses are doing. And I thought I'd make an amazing child psychologist. And I was told I'd got the wrong personality because I would be too emotive. I would take every child home with me. I would be too involved with every case because I would never be able to walk away.
Mm.
And I thought that was hard at the time. But you have only known me for a little while, and you know that's true.
Mhm. That's true.
I would be I would be sneaking them under my coat and taking them all home. So the answer is they were right. That wasn't my where I was going. And I headed into business and became very successful in my own right and able to retire, okay, due to ill health, but not to stop, to start doing different things. My disability stopped me doing lots of things, but my brain, when it's not addled with drugs, is very capable. And for that, I'll be truly grateful. So I think the answer really is to your question. It was me needing me.
Mm.
The only thing I needed was me. I needed me to heal.
Mhm. And that story also reveals your inner warrior and how that warrior have also part of being magician and being playful. So
Yeah.
even though it was lonely to be, the only one betraying your whole family, your tribe, and saying, "Hey, I don't need you," you did that also in some way because of the ancestral energy with you wanting
Mm,
to be happy at the end of the day,
yeah.
and also you saying, "Hey, who I am has nothing to do with all the generational traumas, and now this is what I want to do, and this is my focus and your legacy." And it is, thank you so much. It has been really pleasure to have you on the show. And if you want to add any last hello in the back.
Sorry.
That's
It's
that's
not
fine.
Charles. We're having a
That's okay. That's okay.
podcast.
Hello.
That's my lovely husband. We
He's
just have to
back.
cut him out.
Hello. Oh yeah, he's really lovely. That's awesome.
Bless you.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm happy I was able to see it.
Oh,
I,
I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. I won the lottery, really.
well, you deserve it. You deserve the best, Paulette. Paulette. Yes. So thank you so much. If there is any
You're
last word
welcome.
you want to add, this is the time.
I think I would just like to say to everybody to dig deep, dig deep. All the answers are there. We don't always like the answers. We don't always like the questions. But if you dig deep, find them, and then give yourself the chance one by one to answer the problems and the questions that come up. And always give yourself forgiveness, because nothing that ever happened in your life that was bad was down to you. And as long as you know that, that gives you such strength, because it says, instead of me walking around with all this shame and all this guilt and all this heavy load on my back, actually I'm free as a bird, because that stuff does not belong to me. that's someone else's problem. And I really believe that is the way to heal ourselves. And I mean heal ourselves. I don't mean spend thousands and billions and gazillions on therapy and counselors and everything else. Before we even go there, we have to know what we're asking them to help you with. And the only way you know that is to have done the work on yourself, looked inside, asked yourself the same questions you'd ask someone else. Ask yourself the same questions you'd ask your friend. And always talk to yourself like you're your best friend. Don't ever talk to yourself like you're anything else but your own best friend. And that way you will get the answers. And you'll get better and stronger and able to take on the world.
I feel like I could listen you for years and just listen and listen.
You
We
can
could
play it back now. Before you go to bed, I'll just put Paulette on for 10 minutes.
No, I love it. I think you have such a gift of really wisdom, and you truly open yourself for that gift. And so I just want to acknowledge this and honor all your work, what you have
Thank
done,
you.
and celebrate you as a woman in my tribe as well. And because of
100%.
women like you, I get to do the things I'm doing with Expose, and I'm going to pass it through to the next generation of women who are superstars.
And that includes you, don't forget.
Yes, that includes me, superstar.
Absolutely.
Bye,
It's been
everyone.
a pleasure. Bye bye, darling.
I hope you enjoyed this interview, and please subscribe my YouTube channel. For you, it's a one click. For me, it means the possibility to continue creating impact in the world with those videos. Thank you, and see you soon.